My biology project was to check the salinity of water and to see if it affects plant growth, and if it does, how does it affect plant growth? Now, why? Why would I do this experiment? What's the point? How is this relevant? Well, plants are extremely important to human survival because they provide a lot of energy for humans. And because of this, it is important that farmers are able to produce these crops to their maximum potential. Now, a lot of farmers complain that they're not able to because the water they water their plants with is contaminated and has too much salt in it. So we conducted this experiment to check if that's really true or if that's just a rumor. Is it true that the salt really hindered the growth of plants? The materials we were able to obtain can be obtained in any plant store or any gardening store. We got 2 cartons, each with 10 soil cups, and each soil cup had 4 sweet basil seeds, which take approximately 4 to 7 days to germinate. Now, in total, we have about 40 seeds in each carton. In the first carton, that would be a control group, we would water the seeds with regular tap water, which had no salt in it. And in the second carton, which was our experimental group, we would water the plants with water which had 1.5 teaspoons of salt per liter of water. Now, we'd water each carton the same amount every day, and we kept both cartons in my sunroom. And my sunroom obviously had high temperatures and lots of light, which was great for plant growth and for high photosynthetic rate. Now, we ran 2 trials of this experiment, and each trial lasted 14 days. These are 2 pictures of after 14 days after trial 1 had finished. On the right is the control group, and on the left is the experimental group. And as you can see, there are a lot more plants that had germinated on the control group side than the experimental group side. And it seemed that the heights of the control group are much higher than the plants of the experimental group. This can also be seen in trial 2, where again the control group is on the right and the experimental group is on the left. Once again, the control group has far more number of seeds that have germinated, and it seems that the plants have a much higher height than the ones on the experimental group side. These results can be seen in 2 graphs which were made. The first one saying heights of the plants in trial 1, the second one height of the plants in trial 2. And as you can see, the control group almost on all occasions exceed the height of the experimental groups. In the second graphs, you can see that the experimental group has more non-germinated seeds than the control groups, and on average they had about 20. The experimental group had about 25 non-germinated seeds, and the control group had approximately 13 non-germinated seeds. On the bottom graph, you can see that the average height of the plants, the control group had a much higher average than the experimental group. Now, you might be asking at this point, now, okay, we see all of this. What does this mean? Why? What's the point of this? Why does this happen? Well, this just proves that salt water does hinder the growth of plants. Now, we have to take a step back and think, why? Does this make sense? Why? Well, we have to go back to osmosis. In osmosis, water travels between 2 gradients in order to equalize the concentration gradients. Now, when we water a plant with regular pure water, the concentration gradient within the cell is around the same as the concentration gradient outside the cell. And as a result, there's not much of water moving between the concentration gradients. So the plant cells have enough water for a high photosynthetic rate and they're able to grow. On the contrary, when you water plants with a lot of salt in the water, the plant cells are essentially put in a hypertonic solution, meaning the concentration of pure water is much higher within the cell than outside the cell. To equalize the gradients, the pure water within the cell rushes outside the cell. Now, this causes the plant cell to dehydrate, and this could also cause it to die. Now, as the water is rushing out, though, there's not enough water left in the plant, and the plant, as a result, cannot grow as much and does not have as high of a photosynthetic rate. This should show that having pure water and watering your crops with pure water is extremely important, because if you water your plants with salt water, you will not have your plants grow to their maximum potential. Now, this is very important for farmers to keep in mind if they want their crops to grow to their maximum potential.